The year is 2025. America is a nation divided. The 2024 election saw Donald Trump return to the White House. His victory was a gut punch to many. Hope seemed lost. Immediately, the nation felt different. A palpable tension filled the air. Those who celebrated Trump's return did so with an almost frightening fervor. Those who opposed him felt a deep sense of dread. They knew what was to come. Trump wasted no time in asserting his dominance. He bypassed Congress at every turn, issuing executive orders with breathtaking speed. These orders weren't mere policy tweaks. They were power grabs designed to consolidate his control over every branch of government. The judiciary, once a bastion of independence, became another tool in his arsenal. Trump stacked the courts with loyalists, judges who understood their role was to rubber stamp his agenda. The message was clear: dissent would not be tolerated. New laws were swiftly enacted, criminalizing protests and silencing opposition. Journalists, activists, anyone who dared to speak truth to power faced intimidation, harassment, and prosecution. Fear became the new currency of American life. People began to censor themselves, afraid to speak their minds, afraid to even think the wrong thoughts. The clampdown on dissent was swift and brutal. Trump understood the power of fear. He used it ruthlessly. Protests, once a cornerstone of American democracy, were met with overwhelming force. Images of peaceful demonstrators being tear-gassed and beaten flooded the internet, but to little avail. The media, now firmly under Trump's thumb, either ignored the atrocities or spun them as necessary measures to maintain order. Independent media outlets, those who refused to toe the line, were systematically silenced. Their licenses were revoked, their offices raided, their journalists harassed and imprisoned. The flow of information, once a rushing river, slowed to a trickle. Propaganda and misinformation filled the void, spewed out by state-controlled media outlets. The America of free speech, of open debate, was disappearing. In its place rose a chilling new reality, one where conformity was prized and dissent was crushed. Trump had effectively built a wall, not of concrete and steel, but of fear and silence. The consequences of Trump's tyrannical rule were felt in every corner of American life. Civil liberties eroded at an alarming rate. Surveillance programs, once the subject of paranoid conspiracy theories, became a terrifying reality. Every phone call, every email, every online interaction was monitored, analyzed, and stored. Privacy became a quaint notion of the past. Meanwhile, economic inequality soared. Trump's policies, always designed to benefit the wealthy, further enriched the already rich while leaving the poor and middle class further behind. The gap between the haves and the have-nots widened into a chasm. The American dream, once a beacon of hope for millions, became a cruel joke. America, once a beacon of hope, a symbol of freedom and democracy, was becoming a cautionary tale. A stark reminder that even the strongest democracies can crumble from within. The question remained: could anything be done to stop the slide into authoritarianism? Despite the oppressive atmosphere, flickers of resistance began to emerge. From the ashes of despair rose a new generation of activists, organizers, and everyday citizens determined to reclaim their country. They called their movement social self-defense, drawing inspiration from the Polish resistance against communist rule. They understood that defeating Trump's tyranny would require a sustained, multifaceted approach. These resistance movements faced an uphill battle. Trump's control over the levers of power was near absolute. The judiciary, the media, the legislature, all were firmly under his thumb. Yet they persisted. They organized underground networks, spread information through clandestine channels, and staged acts of civil disobedience, small but significant acts of defiance against an increasingly authoritarian regime. The future of America, once a shining city on a hill, now hung precariously in the balance. The outcome of this struggle between tyranny and freedom, fear and hope, would determine not just the fate of a nation, but the fate of democracy itself.